Hi everybody, Mark Michels here. We are at the NCHA Futurity, joined today with Mr. Jeremy Barwick, the owner of Western Bloodstock. Jeremy, welcome.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's been kind of a crazy time leading up to this and things that have gone on, but it's been a great show so far here, and the best part of the show is fixing to come. We've got the sales starting up this weekend. Let's just go right in and talk about some of the new things that are happening. Obviously, with the EHV-1 breakout, you've been working closely with the vets in the area and in the state. You've come up with some new protocols. Let's talk about that a little bit, about some of the things you guys are doing.
Yeah, so this year, and it's funny because actually Orr and I had talked about this earlier in the year. We were going to start spraying the stalls before the sales and during the sales with Symbiont, so now with everything going on, we definitely are going to. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be spraying the stalls before the horses arrive. We'll be spraying them throughout the week. We'll have handheld sprayers for people to use between their horses and their own stalls, And, everybody just needs to take the precautions they need to take, change the waters between horses. Don't use the same thing on every horse. Just the normal precautions that we probably should take all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've changed some things as far as the health papers. We've got to have a 24-hour health papers. And then we'll also have a letter that states that horse has not been on the premises of an affected horse in the last 21 days. And so that satisfies all the insurance companies, so people can, you can buy with confidence because you can go insure that horse. You're not going to have any trouble. I've talked to the majority of the insurance companies. There's no exclusions.
Yeah.
So people can just buy with confidence just like you always have, Go check the horse, look at it before you buy it, but you should have no problems.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, obviously, social media, good and bad, there's a lot of things that get talked about on there and a lot of things that get brought up, and a lot of it you just got to throw out because it's irrelevant. But I think if you stick to the facts, like you and I have talked, and the precautions are being made, there's new rules in place to do all the prevention that you can to stop this thing from spreading or being introduced here. We have not had a case here at the show, and hopefully we don't see one, and that's important to be able to just adhere to those protocols, I think, and just be smart is the biggest thing. I think just use your common sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking with the local vets here and the state vets on a daily basis, multiple times a day for the last week, and they feel very confident. As long as we all take the precautions we should, do the smart things, then we should have no issues.
Yeah, well, let's get on to the important part, the sale, the fun part of it, and the thing that makes this thing so great. This is obviously the premier sale of the year in the performance horse world, with what we're seeing. And this year's crop of 2-year-olds are probably some of the most anticipated crop that we've seen come in here. Talk about that a little bit. What's different about this year's crop and the mindset behind what's going into buying and selling these horses now?
I think over the last few years, the breeding has gotten better. I think there's a lot of great young sires out there that are producing really good colts, and we have so many very talented young trainers that's what they dedicate their life to, is riding 2-year-olds. So those colts come into the sale, they're so well prepared, but not yet over prepared. Back in the day, we had a couple that would sell really high, but then we'd never see that horse again.
Yeah.
Where now those guys, they've got it mastered to where they're getting those horses really far along without overdoing it. So then those guys that take them as 3-year-olds, it makes their job a lot easier. And we've been breeding better horses, and we've got better trainers. So that just makes for a better group of horses.
So with all this growth around the 2-year-old market and all the excitement around it, and like we said, it's become a whole separate business. The innovator that you are, Western Bloodstock has now come up with a new award. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So we already have the sell incentive, that we pay out at the NCHA Futurity. So this year we're going to start the 2-year-old award for those 2-year-old trainers. And what we'll do is it'll obviously be a year later that they get everything, because by the time the finals are over on finals night, most of them aren't around. But so the top 3 from last year that were 2-year-old sale graduates, they're going to get a saddle pad, a pair of custom-made boots, and this year $5,000 each for being those top 3 2-year-old trainers. So if they were the 2-year-old trainer that brought that colt to the sale last year, rode it through the sale, and then it made those Futurity finals, those top 3, we'll start giving those awards every year. And hopefully we'll build it to get that purse higher for them, just in appreciation for the job that they do.
Well, I think it's great that you guys are recognizing that, because these guys, they are specialty trainers. I mean, these guys are top of their game at what they're doing, and so it's cool that there's now an award for their work, basically, and the results of their work that carries on and rewards them a little bit for that.
Yeah, and they don't, for the majority of them, they don't go show, so they don't get a chance to win all that other incentive money. So we're going to start this year, but we want to start building it every year to get it even bigger and better for them, to give them something to shoot for and go cheer their horses on the next year to see if they can make that top 3.
All right, so now we've got another race to keep track of, and we're going to be tracking those horses and those riders directly on PHC, and I'm sure Western Bloodstock's going to be tracking them too. But that's a great way to recognise the work that goes into bringing those 2-year-olds here and the success that they have after the sale once they step off and hand them off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think we did the sale preview the other day with Wes Ashlock and Tyson Benson, and they sat down and talked with the guys with Ryan Rapp and Colby Moore afterwards. And Wes brought up some really good points about how they prepare these horses to get them to peak without stepping over that ledge, but having these horses to where when they do go into those trainer programs, those trainers are gone a lot. And obviously they've got people at home working these horses, but these horses are far enough along to where there's no catch-up. It's more maintaining, polishing, finishing out the rough edges and getting those horses exactly how they want them. And I think that's a big key to what's going in with how to get these horses to that stage without overstepping that boundary.
Yeah, I've always thought that 2-year-old year was so important in that they needed to be far enough along, but not too far, so that the guy that gets him as a 3-year-old, just like you said, they're gone a lot, and they can't haul them to every single show they go to. So that 3-year-old year needs to be easier, more fine-tuning, polishing things rather than playing catch-up, because in this business it's so competitive now that if you're having to play catch-up, you're probably not going to be there on finals night.
Yeah, it's tough with any horse at any level. I mean, if it doesn't have the foundation to fall back on, it's hard to get him to get to that next level without having that foundation, without being able to fall back on that.
Oh, absolutely. They've got to have that foundation, so when they do run into a problem, you've got somewhere to go back to. If you don't have that foundation there, they have nowhere to go other than start over from the beginning, and there's just not enough time to do that.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, we see, and Western Bloodstock has really gotten diligent about this, we're seeing a lot more of it, the sale graduates. We're noticing that you guys are promoting these sale graduates to let everybody know, hey, that champion or this winner or that finalist came from the sale. How important is that relationship with keeping that going to promote the fact that these horses going through the sales, like you touched on earlier, are being successful and are staying there for the long run?
Well, I think it's very important because back in the day, you had those horses that sold for a lot of money, but then we never saw them again, or you saw them very little. Where now, the way these guys are training them, I mean, you're seeing them finals after finals after finals, championships, reserve championships. I mean, these horses are coming back and doing very well in the show pen, and as a sell company, that's what you want. You want people to come and buy knowing that they're buying something they got a chance to go win something on.
Yeah. Let's talk about the incentives. There's a lot of different incentives, and obviously, you've been a big part of developing a lot of those as well, and being a big player in that side of things. How important are the incentives when looking at buying a 2-year-old?
I think and there's a lot of great incentives, and I think they're extremely important because what you can win on that horse has to factor into what you can pay for that horse. You can't pay $100,000 for a horse that you can only win $100,000 on. Yeah. But you can go give $300,000 or $400,000 for one if you can win $1 million on it. Yeah. And the way these incentives are structured now, and there's so many, and they're all good. They're all different, but they're all good, and they're all good for the industry. So we need that because that just elevates the value of your horse. It elevates the value of your trainer. It elevates your checkbook as an owner. So they're extremely important.
Yeah. Let's talk about the growth a little bit. Obviously, that's a big factor of it. The growth from the other industries that are now buying horses here, the rope horse community, the cow horse community, all these other disciplines now, even the team sorters, the team penners, there's a whole trickle-down effect there. But there's a big push driving this whole market. It's just not one, affiliate or industry. It's like there's a multiple thing happening here. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say I like to say this is the horses that cutters, for lack of a better term, raise. Those horses, they're so good-minded and easy to train and athletic that they can do so many different disciplines. And I think that's real important nowadays because, back in the day, oh, if he didn't cut, oh, we'll go cow horse on it,
Yeah.
or we'll go rope on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. Like, in those disciplines, they have grown so much and just as competitive as the cutting. And you better have a really, really good horse to win in those events.
Yeah.
I mean, we put on a roping too, and I watch those horses, and there's a lot of horses there that we bred as cutters
Yeah.
that are outstanding. And so to think you're going to take one, oh, it doesn't make it, I'm going to do this, that's not true anymore. It takes a very talented horse to do any of those disciplines.
Yeah, the days of what we call the cutter reject are gone. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
there's no
thing.
rejects.
They're being repurposed, and
Yeah.
they're champions and other. That's what I think. That's the biggest thing that I see is that these horses are now, instead of being looked at as rejects, like, hey, this horse is actually a better cow horse potential, and they're succeeding over there, or a rope horse, potential.
Yeah, they were probably never real rejects. That's just, for lack of better terms, what we called them.
Yeah.
They just maybe wasn't doing the sport they needed to be doing. I mean, I may be a great baseball player, you may be a great football player, but you may not be able to do the other.
Keep it realistic.
I mean,
a
it's
little bit.
just the way it is. I mean, not every horse is made to do that discipline.
Yeah.
So you got to find what that horse is made to do.
Yeah, and now that the money is getting bigger in those other disciplines, it's making it more sense for those guys to invest a little bit more in the horsepower for those other disciplines.
Oh man, I mean, even in the roping, just because those fraternities are the newest probably of all.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys could go win a couple $100,000 on a fraternity horse.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money
Yeah.
for those guys to win, and it's going to continue growing. And
Yeah.
and they have the incentives also now.
yeah, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about we've seen a lot of changes over the last 10 years, especially in the 2-year-old side of things, and we've hit on this before. But the importance of these sale videos and making sure that those are the right kinds of videos that are getting put out. We see, I mean, there's people here every day at the Western Bloodstock booth just watching all the videos here and doing their homework. The video side of it, and also the pre-work side, and the preview side of it, not just the ones that we did the other day with Wes and Tyson, but these other guys are bringing them in blocks and working them in the practice pen here. They're setting up, people to come watch them. It's become a whole business. The marketing side of it, I think, is the biggest thing that's changed. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, the videos are so important. I mean, because as you've seen here at the booth over the last couple of weeks, I mean, there's people here constantly studying those videos. And then they narrow that down to the ones they really like, and then they set it up to go preview with that trainer, or that trainer puts on a public preview like Wes and Tyson did the other day. That's real important in marketing your horse.
Yeah.
But it all starts with that video, because that's the first thing they see, and it's real important. In the first 10 seconds of that video, you've got to get their attention,
Yep.
or they're just going to scroll right past you.
Yeah, and I think the guys have gotten smarter about that. They're engaging social media companies and content creators, so to speak, to help get their videos noticed on social media, not just at the end of the year, but at the start of the year, and building on from that.
Yeah, you see a lot of those guys. They'll start posting things, in the spring, just to start generating some interest, knowing they're coming to the sale the end of the year to sell that horse. But it generates the interest all year long.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the big numbers part of the Western Bloodstock sales here at the Futurity, the yearlings. How has that kind of grown or changed over the years? What are you seeing there? What kind of trends are you seeing?
No, really, the only thing I've seen the last couple of years is, for years, you could go buy a 2-year-old cheaper than you could buy a yearling.
Mm-hmm.
And that always
Didn't make
amazed me,
sense.
because I'm like, that horse has a year's training.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there just was the lack of trust in it, if they thought that horse was too far along or what have you. And maybe there just wasn't, as there was several obviously very talented 2-year-old guys back then, but not as many as there are now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many good guys now riding these 2-year-olds, and that's all they do all year long. And so I think that's changed a little bit, where the yearlings are bringing dang sure what they're worth. But then if you've got that 2-year-old that is sure enough stepping up there and doing its job, it's going to bring the big money.
Yeah. What advice would you have for somebody that is potentially thinking about buying a yearling at the sale? What should they be looking for? I mean, is it a confirmation game? Is it a bloodlines game? How do you give some advice to somebody looking to kind of step into that side of it?
Well, now there's so many great mares, so many great sires. To me, it all boils down to confirmation. I mean, that horse has to be made like you want one made to do its job, because it doesn't matter how it's bred. If it's not made well enough, it's not going to stay sound.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to go and be competitive on it. So I don't know. I'm a big encourager of go look at the horses and then narrow it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen any changes in buyer behavior, let's say? What are some of the common things that you see? I mean, from there's obviously a lot of new buyers that come into the game during these NCHA Futurities. How big a part is that of these sales, is bringing the new people in?
Well, I think the buyers have gotten way smarter. I think they do their homework a lot better. They do take the time to go out to the big fitters and look at the horses, go to the 2-year-old guys and watch the horses. I mean, and that's important. It's never a smart idea to sit there in the sale ring and just buy a horse off of impulse.
Yeah.
That
But you encourage that. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you want people to buy them, but you want them to buy them smart because you want a happy customer at the end of the day.
Back. Yeah.
You want them to be successful, because if they do sit there and do something like that and it doesn't work out, they're probably not going to come back.
Yeah.
And you want those guys to come back.
Yeah.
Repeat business is the only way you stay in business. So you've got to keep them happy and keep them coming back.
Yeah. Let's talk about the broodmares for a minute. There's so much that's changed in the breeding game over the last few years with all the different ways now that they have of, getting more babies on the ground or getting, just basically just making that whole side of things more productive. How do you see some of those changes?
Well, I mean, we're breeding a lot of horses now, and broodmares forever were the cheapest thing at the horse sale. Well, not anymore. We can't get very many. Yeah. And the few you get, they bring premium dollar, because the yearlings are worth so much, the 2-year-olds are worth so much, so it makes that mare worth way more now. Yeah. So it's better just to hold on to her and sell colts out of her, or raise colts that you're going to show. But there's a lot of ways to breed, and it's good. It's good for the industry to have the numbers to choose from, because still at the end of the day, there's only so many great ones. Yeah. So you need the numbers so you can get more great ones. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's one thing we have seen, the trend. I mean, ever since COVID, I think it's those numbers are growing every year.
Yeah, I mean, our numbers at the breeding facility have grown every single year since COVID. I mean, it hasn't slowed down, and the other breeding facilities that I talk to on a regular basis, they've all grown. And that's good, because the business has grown. I mean, we got 6 days of amateur here at the Futurity. I mean, the industry is growing. The snaffle bit's growing. The rope horse industry is growing, and all those guys come here to buy horses too. So we need those numbers in order to get. And there's still a shortage. Yeah. There's still not enough great ones. There's getting there, but as we grow, we have to have more. Yeah. So we have to continue breeding in order to have them. Yeah.
How many horses are we selling next week total?
There's about 1,050.
1,050. So it starts all right here in the Watt Arena in Fort Worth at the NCHA Futurity this coming Sunday. And we're going to be going right through till the following week, December 6th, rounding out. And there is horses of all ages here, all calibers, all price ranges. I mean, there's a little bit of everything here. If you've got any questions about anything about the sale, be sure to reach out to the staff at westernbloodstock.com. They're also here on site, and we're going to be getting ready to get things kicked off. Jeremy, thanks for stopping by. And if anybody has any questions about the EHV-1 or any new protocols, be sure to reach out to Jeremy or the staff there. And we look forward to seeing everybody there. It's going to be a great sale.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you there.